Hi guys, White Witch 110 here. It is a beautiful day here in Ottawa Day for Canada Day. Although it's a bit strange, I'm not seeing people down on the street waiting for the bus to take them downtown for the celebrations. I'm hoping that next year we can get back to normal and that we'll be able to go downtown and that we'll be able to celebrate all together. That would be fabulous. So this year it's another quiet one. But I figured since it is quiet and hubby and I aren't going downtown, that I would continue with another installment of Not Now. We left Abby breaking the surface of the water, and we'll continue from there. Abigail was pulled from the water and taken to the cabin to await an ambulance. "Nicole, what happened?" Jim inquired, walking into the cabin with them. "She went after him like a shot. I had no time to stop her." She filled him in on the conversation before the encounter. "She was in a blind rage. I've never seen her like that before. She was a different person." "Abigail, you shouldn't have done that. It's my job, not yours, okay? Leave it to us," Jim told her, being gentle with his tone. "I'm staying with her, whether she likes it or not. She isn't going to work for the rest of the week," Nicole informed him. Abigail refused to go to the hospital. Her uncle sat in the living room while Nicole got Abby to bed. On her return, she filled him in on everything that Abigail had shared. My God, I never would have imagined. That girl has been through hell and back. She's stronger than any of us gave her credit for. "I think I'll keep this under wraps until Nick gets back." The following morning, the local news station reported on the commotion at the lake. Police were called to the home of Abigail Wilson, ex-wife of Scott Wilson, last night. Police report that a stalker has been on the property for the past month. He has eluded capture by the authorities. Ms. Wilson took chase after the assailant last evening. She lost her footing on the dock and was pulled from the water by police. The only description available is a male of medium height and weight, wearing a long black coat. The anchor then moved on to the next story. Scott sat in his living room, stunned by the news. Part of him wanted to call and see how she was, yet another part was bitter for what she had done. He made a call to Nicole. "What do you want?" Nicole answered harshly after seeing his name on her screen. "What's going on with Abigail? I seen the news," he told her. "What should you care? You left her without an explanation. I don't think you deserve to know anything more than you do." Nicole was abrupt with him. "You promised my father and hers that you would stay by her. So much for that." And she hung up. The following Monday, Abigail was back at work. Her uncle spoke to her in his office. "Nicole told me everything. I'm sorry you went through it all without family by you. From now on, you come to us. We love you, Abby." He gave her a tight hug. It meant everything to her to have the support of family. "Thank you." Sitting at her desk, she began inputting the piles of folders. They had been busy while she was off. "Good to see you back," Gary said, entering the room. "I agree," said Mel. "News travels fast," she smiled. "If you need anything, let me know," Mel offered as he left. "I'll do that." "I hope they catch this person soon. Shouldn't have to live like this," Gary said. "I chased him this time. Nearly caught the jerk," she laughed. "It wasn't smart. I'm afraid to think of what could have happened. Leave the chase to the police, please, Gary said. Guess we'll never know what would have happened. The ringing of a cell phone echoes in the men's room. I seen the news. What the hell were you thinking? She could have died. The caller was upset. Just get it done, but be smart about it, or I'll get someone else. Don't take that money for granted. I can get it back just as fast, one way or another. The voice threatened. You going straight home after work? Mel inquired. Yes, I'm not much in the mood for company, though. Mel understood and left her alone. Just before quitting time, Gary came into the room. Hey, need a friend to hang out with tonight? Promise I won't bug you. Abigail thought for a moment, then agreed for him to come over to her place. I'll go home and grab a couple of things and stay overnight if that's fine with you. No problem. At home, Abigail ordered from Dan's for delivery. It should arrive shortly after Gary would. Gary pulled up to the front of the cabin and made his way to the door. Just as the door opened, he shouted for Abigail to get back inside. He had seen movement from the corner of his eye. She slammed the door shut and waited. Not long after, there was a knock at the door, and Gary asked to be let in. Bastard got away. Gary was out of breath. I see movement out of the corner of my eye. Good thing I was here. After their roast beef dinner, they relaxed in front of the fireplace. Gary kept to his word and allowed Abigail to read her book in peace. At 10, she said goodnight and went to sleep. In the morning, Abigail actually felt refreshed. Gary had taken any worry she had away. He had proved what a good friend he was. At work, he inquired as to whether he should stay another night or not. She let him know. I suppose you've seen the news? Sally asked Scott. About Abigail? Yes, I seen it, he answered. Did you call her? Sally wanted to know. No. Why would I call her? Just wondering, since she is your ex-wife, I thought you might be concerned. She took a place by him on their large sofa. I stopped in to see Dan. He said he's ready for us to come back when we're ready. He also mentioned your ex. He said she had been in there for dinner with Mel and some guy from her work. Looks like she's finally moved on. This brought huge satisfaction to Sally and sealed her plan. Guess so, was his response. But was there something in his voice that said he still cared? Gary offered once again to stay another night. Abigail agreed. But when it became an every night thing, she began to say no, it was fine. Mel had given up asking and was content to wait. The odd evening with her for a dinner was good enough. In reality, this was all a distraction for her. Sooner or later, she knew she would have to stop this. Abigail knew their hearts were in the right place. They couldn't always be there for her. It wasn't fair. Both of you have been so generous, but I need to deal with this on my own, Abigail told them both. They understood. Another call is placed. What's taking so long? I thought she would have called by now. What are you doing? The female voice said. I won't wait forever. She hung up. The stalker began coming every other night. Officer Jim posted a patrol car outside the cabin. Abigail could finally sleep soundly, knowing she was protected. Have you seen the figure lately? Her uncle asked. Not since the police car's been outside. I actually sleep all night, she smiled. We should have done this at the beginning, but you were too stubborn. How long would this go on for? The patrol car couldn't be a permanent thing. They had to catch this guy. Summer was coming to a close, and Abigail realized she hadn't been able to enjoy any of it. Bookings for weddings were beginning to drop off with the cooler weather. Now there were more parties being scheduled. The pace was steady, which kept the days moving along nicely. Believing the stalker was gone, Abigail requested the police car discontinue its surveillance. This is when the phone calls began in earnest. At first, there was only dead air. Then the messages were being left. They ranged from "I see you" to "leave." Then the most upsetting to her, "when you least expect it." She finally contacted Jim with a recording of each message she had received over the past 3 weeks. "Why do you always wait?" he wanted to know. "Because I think you'll give up." She knew in her heart that wouldn't happen. "Well, we'll have someone go over the messages and try to get the recording clearer. Maybe there's background noise you'll recognize." Abigail thanked him and hung up. Abby was diligently answering phones at work that morning when a call came through to her. "Hello, this is Abby. How can I help you today?" she inquired cheerfully. She began taking down the information required on their forms. "And will there be any entertainment?" she asked. "Oh yes, Scott Wilson will be performing." "Not with his wife, though," the hostess told her. She couldn't write his name down on the form. "Can you excuse me for a moment?" She placed the caller on hold. "Mel, could you take this call for me? I really need to use the bathroom." Before he could answer, she was gone. "Hello, this is Mel. Abigail has been called away. I can continue taking your information. I see she was up to the entertainment." "Yes, I just told her Scott Wilson was going to be my entertainment. Only him, not that horrible woman he married." Mel kept his laughter in his head. This was the reason she didn't want to take the call any further. This was the last place they expected to find him, even though he had played this venue before it never came to their minds. When Abigail came back into the room, Mel said, "I know why you left now. How are you going to handle this when he's here?" "Do you want me to work that night instead?" he asked. "No, I'll get through it," she told Mel. "I wonder if he knows you work here." "I'll make sure I'm written in for that night, just in case." "What's going on?" Gary asked, walking into the room. "Scott's performing here for a private party," Mel informed him. Gary turned to Abby. "Do you want me to handle it?" "No, I'll be fine. I really appreciate both of you being so protective of me, but I got this." As the days progressed, the harassing phone calls increased. They began to interfere with work. Jim had the recordings cleaned up, but it was of no help. Even listening to the voice, she couldn't place it. The night of the private party arrived. Abigail wore the blue dress she knew was a favorite of Scott's. Why was she doing this? Did she actually believe there could be a chance of them being together again? "Hello," Gary greeted the hostess and Scott. "Right this way, please. We have everything set up for you. Your lemon water is on the stand behind you there," he pointed. "How did you know?" he asked. "Abigail told me." "I know where I've seen you before. You were in the driveway that night," Scott said. "Yes, it was me. So if everything is good, I'll see you to your dressing room." Scott followed him to a small room down a short hall. It may have been a parlor back in the day. "This is where you can get ready for your performance." "Thanks," Scott replied. As Gary opened the door to leave, Abigail walked by quickly. It was only a glimpse, and she moved too fast to get her attention. Just a footnote. I would appreciate a professional attitude tonight. Don't bother Abigail. She, Gary, and Mel dressed the space for the event. Balloons and happy retirement signs set the mood. The reality of spending an evening with Scott hanging over him was too much. Gary had his first drink an hour before the party began. It was time for Scott to perform, and it was Abigail's job to inform him. She knocked on the door before opening it. "Hi, Abigail," Scott quietly said, in a cool tone. "Hello, Scott. Everything is ready for you? I have other things to attend to. Do you know how to get to the room?" she asked. "Yes." He attempted to speak with her. "Your boyfriend was very helpful today." "Boyfriend? I don't have a boyfriend," she told him, annoyed. "I must have misunderstood him that night." "That night?" Abby was lost. "I went to get some of the boxes from the apartment. He was having car trouble. I stopped to offer help, but he was good. And he said he had brought his girlfriend home." "Well, he isn't my boyfriend." Scott made his way to the room, and Abby went the opposite way. Once she heard his voice introducing himself and the first song, she backtracked along the hall. She stood just outside the doorway to listen to him sing. Abigail noted each song was about losing a love. Nothing was positive. Gary made his way towards Abigail, and she confronted him. "Why did you tell Scott you were my boyfriend?" "I never told him that." Gary was defensive. "The night you had car trouble?" "I told him I brought my date home. That's all." "It wasn't a date. We are two friends having an evening out. That's all." She was adamant. Gary was acting weird. She hadn't seen him like this before. And I think I will leave it right there. As always, leaving you hanging. Thank you for coming in. It is greatly appreciated. To my YouTube family. I'm just closing down my... Oh, this wants to update. Okay, update and shut down. To my YouTube family, thank you very much for coming by. I hope you're all enjoying your day, whatever you're doing. To my Canadian family, I hope you're enjoying your Canada Day and that you were able to do something to enjoy and celebrate. Hopefully a lot of you will be having fireworks later. I'll be checking our sky once it gets dark to see if we have any. And if we do, I will be out on the balcony and I will be filming it for you and I'll upload it. Now I still have to check, but I did take some video of the Snowbirds, Canada's aerial team. I didn't even know they were going to be here, neither did hubby, but he heard them. So I missed them the first time. The second time, I think I got them. And then I seen them again to the west. So hopefully I got it. With the sun, the glare, it was kind of hard to tell. And I may have got them in the south, down towards the airport. I'm not sure. But apparently they did have, as I seen, their aerial performance here today starting at noon. It looked as though they were going over the different sections of the city. I believe they did this last year as well. And from here, they're going out to Vancouver, hubby read. So good luck to them, and I hope everything goes well, as they lost one of their team to an accident last year, it would have been. So I wish them all well. And to anybody new who's coming in to check things out, please do feel free to look at my other videos. If there's anything there that interests you, give it a thumbs up. drop me a comment, and share any of them out with family, friends, co-workers, anyone you think might be interested. That's always greatly appreciated. And while you're here, consider subscribing, and if you do subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll know the next time that I upload. And let me show you this one here. This is the big. I'm going to get the red one of this as well, though I didn't take that off. It wasn't hanging, they had it like in a pot, but I do want to get the red one. This is plastic. It goes around pretty good, but of course there's no wind right now. Figures. You want to show it and it doesn't do nothing. They are calling for rain. I don't know if that's changed at all. Ooh, feather. But looks a little cloudy down that way. So anyhow, enjoy. Whose dog is that? Okay, it's on a leash. That always concerns me. Oh, that's the woman above on the 5th floor in the middle. She's above our neighbor. That is one of those service dog. I'd say somebody's having a party over there. Yeah. I don't know if we're allowed to yet, to be honest. Outside, I think. That's probably why they got the pool. I don't know, is that showing the pool? Kinda, sorta. I think. Maybe. Well, as I said, thank you all for coming by. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Thursday. So all the Canucks out there, have a good one. Don't get too drunk. I mean, maybe you're going to be staying home tomorrow. Took an extra day off. We'll be at work. Don't expect too many people there. So the day will be what it is. So until the next time, ciao for now.